rolling.
Welcome back, everyone.
Hey.
This is episode 105.
105
of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast.
Sure
Brought to you
is.
by Black Belt Digital Marketing. Anything you need to build your business on or offline, website design, Google Ads, graphic design, printing, we can help. Check us out at Black Belt Digital Marketing on IG, or check out our website, bbdigitalmarketing.com. Right there on the homepage, you can request a free review of your entire online presence.
That's right.
So if you own a gym, you own a business, you focus on getting in local business. If that's your thing, we can absolutely help you get found more.
Thinking about
Check it
turning
out.
pro. If you're thinking about turning pro, and I'm being online, man.
No,
Yeah.
that's not what that.
They don't
does.
do that?
No.
So if you
This
want to
is for like a business that's looking for more local business.
Yeah.
We can help them. We're focused on the Google business profile, getting your map listing found more. Like there are things that you could do to get that found more. So I get, you're talking more like a social media side of things, like a fighter. We're not like into like, that's not a thing that we do. Like getting a no, it's all focused around like businesses and really being able to get measurable results. Not just like likes and follows, like that's different. Okay. We do that for ourselves. I mean, what you just described is kind of what we do for Jiu-Jitsu Dummy. Like we don't promote for the address to get found. We promote for the social media to get found.
Yeah,
we don't do that for other people. We are helping another podcast right now. We've worked out a really good program where we do everything post-production. So we upload it online. We push it out to the different. We use a host that pushes it out to different platforms. We cut reels for him. We do everything that we do post-production for them. So we're doing that. This is the first time we're doing it for a client. So we have this and one other podcast.
Nice.
And now more and more people, it's become a thing. But it's, it's kind of expensive. So it's like the average podcast is just getting started. Like they're not ready for us yet. It's like to build up a little bit, get a following, get some sponsors, and then, you can bring in somebody like us.
Most podcasts don't really make a lot of money. Not for a while.
You know what the secret is?
What?
Ask.
Ask?
Ask for sponsors.
Oh, ask.
Ask. Ask, Bo. Ask for sponsors.
Ask for sponsors.
Whether it's a jiu-jitsu podcast or it is you're doing something in another genre, ask. Believe it or not, more people will say no. Kendall Rusing, I've talked about this before when we've talked about this, getting sponsors. She talked about how she sent out like 30 messages. I don't know if it was emails or messages.
She was just cold calling?
She just mailed out. She's like, I didn't get a response from anybody. I think maybe she was at an event that it wound up like one gi company like got back to her.
Yeah.
It was like 30 gi companies, I think was the story. And one person got back to her, and they're still a sponsor to today, or at least up until when she was on the show.
Bam.
It was like the same gi sponsor that's been with her all this time. So you just have to ask. If you're not asking people, like, how do you make money? We spent a little bit of money to build up and get found, but we also asked. In the beginning, the first year was all giveaway stuff, right?
Yeah.
It was giving away CBD. It was giving away T-shirts. We weren't looking to make any money. First year was completely spent in building an audience and giving away anything that we got. We might have used some of the stuff that we got. They used to send it to us first.
Yeah.
Then we would send it to the listeners. And then I was just like, just send it right to the listener. Just, send it. And I don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
Because then we're going to keep some, right? And but just we asked, and then those sponsors that gave us stuff became paying sponsors. They not only sent us product, but they changed into actually paying sponsors. So it's out there. I just think people they think that somebody's going to come knocking on the door, being like, "Hey, we love your podcast. Here's some money.
We want to sponsor you."
Yeah, it doesn't. That happened. That's happened to us a few times after we built, but it's not going to happen in the beginning. You have to have some type of presence. Anyway. So I am Milton Campus. I'm a brown belt chanting out of South Florida. We got Bo behind the camera. Yo. Miguel riding shotgun.
Yo.
All right. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and click the subscribe button. We'd really appreciate the support. I just noticed this the other day. Like now, when I subscribe on YouTube, it actually also does the reminders. So it's not two separate things to subscribe and then click the reminder. Oh. If you're subscribing, I don't know if it's universal now. I was on a few pages.
That's the way it used to be.
Well, no, you had to click subscribe and then click the notification bell.
No.
Now it's all one.
Before they did the notification bell, that's what it used to be. You subscribe, you got your notification.
It's back to that. It's it actually, like when you click it, it shows subscribe, and it shows the little bell next to subscribe.
That just goes to show, if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
There you go. So we appreciate all the support. Check us out on all platforms. It's Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Podcast. On TikTok, it's on Instagram, on most platforms, it's Jiu-Jitsu Dummies. On TikTok and on YouTube, it's at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Podcast. And YouTube's using handles now, so you can actually on YouTube, if you put a handle into your text,
just put
it actually
Dummies,
links directly to YouTube. Yes. Joining us today is Professor Thomas Rozdzynski. He's been on before. Happy to have him back. Mm-hmm. Let's do a few quick shout-outs, and then we'll get him in here. Thank you to our friends over at Flow and Roll. I always say they have incredible custom gi and no-gi gear. I just told them to end the pre-order.
It's over.
So we're ready to order them and get them in stock now. That's happening. How many
tickets do we have?
I didn't find out how many. I didn't find out exactly how many pre-orders we have. I didn't ask them.
No, not
pre-orders.
I was impressed with the
pre-orders.
The raffle.
And then the raffle. Yeah, we haven't talked about it in a while. You can still send in if you order anything from any of our sponsors. Send us a copy of the receipt.
The raffle hasn't ended?
No, we haven't done the raffle yet. We're going to do that soon. Once I know that the rash guards are inbound, they're done, they're completed, and they're shipped to Flow and Roll, then we'll pick the winner. You can win up to $250 worth of jiu-jitsu gear, stuff from the show. We're going to get you the rash guard and the shorts, and we'll probably have some sponsors throwing some other stuff as well. So check out Flow and Roll at flow_n_roll. They have an incredible pre-order program, right? Kind of what we did for the podcast Rash Guard and Shorts, they do for gyms and academies throughout the country. So you can basically get, it didn't cost us much to get the design completed, get the designs on his website for ordering. He does that with gis and no-gi kits for academies throughout the country. Yeah. Obviously big down here in South Florida, or in all of Florida, but he serves the entire U.S. So a couple of things here. So you can get our T-shirt on his website. I think after the pre-order, you'll also be able to use our 20% off coupon. So JJD for 20% off at flowandroll.com. Again, they have our podcast tee, and now they have our no-gi kit, the Peace Love Jiu-Jitsu no-gi kit. What else?
They're awesome.
And he's
What's
awesome.
Up, Sean?
Yep, shout out to Sean. Thank you to the BJJ box for all their support as well. They are Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box. It's delivered to your door filled with premium Jiu-Jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and a whole lot more.
There's different levels.
Yep. They find the best products in the world of Jiu-Jitsu and guarantee every box is going to be worth more than the actual cost, right? Meaning the sum total, the retail cost of those items in the box are going to be the cost of the box is going to be way less than that retail cost, okay? Each box includes 4 to 7 items that you're going to love. It's always more. It's definitely more than 4. Even though he puts in 2 shirts for us, the extras, the other stuff is always at least 5 extra things. We've gotten sports drinks. We've gotten beef jerky,
protein powders,
different CBDs.
And then injury prevention stuff, strengthening stuff. And even remember the promo
Spiky
code? Ball. No, I was saying he even threw a card with a special promo code that you could only get through the BJJ box for like a master class or
sometimes there's a card in there and it has a promo
code
or other products there that you can actually just go out and buy online. So check them out, thebjjbox.com. and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your first order. And I think we should have another box coming. For the next episode, we'll probably have an unboxing.
Cats love them.
Shout out to I know what you're talking about. Shout out to Neutral Zone CBD. No matter if your aches and pains are coming from lifting weights at the gym, rolling on the mats, or just the daily grind of life, Neutral Zone has a product for you. Find your Neutral Zone by finding the best products for your pain wellness, so you can continue your active lifestyle. Check them out at neutralzonecbd.com. Use code JJD for 25% off. And the Instagram is MyNeutralZone. All right, so check them out there as well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. One thing that we haven't talked about, we haven't been around, I am now on the board of directors for the Backpack Barber Foundation.
What is it?
So check them out, thebackpackbarberfoundation.com. I'm going to go into it a little bit more as the episodes go on. I'll give us some little nuggets. But basically, Greg Young, who founded the organization, he gives haircuts and hygiene products in a backpack to the homeless in Fort Lauderdale. So happy to be a part of it. Check out their Instagram at the Backpack Barber Foundation. What I'm bringing to the table, what we bring to the table is our marketing knowledge. So we've taken over posting to social media, creating graphics, and we're talking about. We actually sent them over video on edits to the website so that it works better. So check them out. Let me know what you think. Give me your feedback. Feel free to donate. There's a donate button right there on the homepage. We're helping them get basically, let's say, quote unquote, certified for like getting donations on Instagram and Facebook, which is really cool. So that's coming soon. But if you click the LinkedIn on their Instagram, you can see all the ways to follow their social media, donate on Venmo and Cash App right now with the two ways that you can donate. We'll have PayPal there, and then again, you'll actually be able to donate directly through Instagram and Facebook. So that's soon. So we're just trying to help them out with the knowledge that we have from the foundation that we ran, from what we do for the podcast, and what we just do in the marketing world. So if you're seeing that logo on our stuff, that's the story. We'll bring you some more nuggets in the coming episodes, and just super happy to be involved. All right. So got anything?
Nope.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Happy New Year,
Happy New Year,
right?
yeah,
Happy New Year. This is the first time I've seen you on the podcast.
Yep.
Happy New Year, Bo.
Happy New Year.
How are the holidays?
Happy New Year.
Were you good?
Yeah.
Everything good?
Everything good. It's okay.
You're good with how much can we talk? You open about talking about what you're.
I get the final dentures come next week. So
Bo's had some reconstruction done on his mouth and. He's ready for his dentures.
It's starting to look like
the dentures will lead to
the permanent install.
Implants are going to get installed, and then the final teeth get installed on that. But that's still not going to be till like July.
We like to tease him that there's that picture of the dog with the humongous human teeth. Every time we start talking about teeth, I think about that picture.
Hey, go to
The Mask.
Is it from there?
It's that little terrier.
Picture of this little terrier with the
Go to handy_wisdom on Instagram and you'll see my teeth.
And you'll see the actual the teeth. Those are the teeth that they're working on.
Those are the
dentures.
That's the replica.
Those are the fitters.
Okay.
The ones that they use for fitting.
Yeah.
The actual final ones are a lot thinner material. And more comfortable.
It's going to be my goal.
Carbon fiber?
Yeah, right, huh?
Once he gets them. Once he gets it's going to be my mission in life until he gets the implants. To make him laugh so hard that he spits the dentures out.
That's not. Oh, during the denture portion? It might happen.
We got to get him to laugh.
It's going to happen for sure.
Yeah. When the implants are in, that's it, bro.
I tend to speak very strongly, so I expect to spit them out a lot.
Expect to spit them out.
Right now, I literally have no teeth in my mouth, so I'm speaking without any teeth. And I'm actually profoundly stunned how...
Yeah, you don't. It doesn't sound much so different than you did before.
Just sounds like I have a lisp.
Yeah, he looks like he looks like the old coal miner guy from like the cartoons, like hey, you get off, you kids get off my lawn, kind of guy.
I see something different. Like he's got a really good like jawline and good jaw structure, and he's not a bad looking dude. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
definitely distinguished. Yeah, my likes are public. I'm just saying that, like, when he gets, to what he used to have, after the miracles of modern science, dude.
Yeah, I'm excited.
He's a good-looking dude.
I've known Bo for.
I'm happy for you, dude.
I got a chubby.
Nice.
Probably we're going on 2 decades, I think, knowing each other, right?
Yeah.
And I told you before, I am incredibly happy for you.
Same.
I know this has been a long time coming. This has been a thing that you've wanted to do, and I was really giddy when I saw the picture because I thought I was going to come here and you were going to have the dentures already. So I was super excited for you not to come make fun of you or anything.
One more week.
I was super excited for you. I'm very, very happy that you're getting this done, and it's going to be super exciting to have you in the pictures. We got to get you in the pictures now with the big smile so everybody can see.
I'm just going to be clenching them all the time and speaking like this through the teeth because so they don't come flying out.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome, man. So
we'll
you got that done, and then now we've also got to try to get you on the mat. Still, that's the only other thing missing now.
So we can knock my teeth out.
So we can knock out your implants. When you get your implants, that's when we'll do it.
He'll have an incentive to be good at jiu-jitsu to not like he's like this is worth a lot of money.
Just get a mouthpiece, bro. Just get a nice, get a big, nice mouthpiece. You're gonna be worried in the beginning, right? Are you gonna be like nervous, like?
Oh hell yeah!
Oh my god! I bit. You know, like when you bite a fork when you're eating something, you bite a fork, you'd be like, ah!
Imagine
because just the teeth part, not the implant part, just the teeth part is $10,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
this whole process,
like,
you want to? Can you?
Don't
what's
lean
the whole
on my
process?
Car. It's like don't lean on my car.
What's the whole process cost at the end? When out the door, what is this all gonna have run you?
$50,000.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. That's like
50,000. Yeah.
That's like somebody.
That's not podcast money, people. He's not making that.
And these days, that's a shit car too. That's not even like a good car. You already pay $50,000. Oh, shit.
I don't know. That's a lot of money, bro. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It is. Trust me. So now I'm gonna be selling my ass on OnlyFans.
No, you got
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
We're gonna see you on what's one of the foot ones.
We're gonna do my foot. Yeah, we're gonna do a foot channel on.
Go for it, dude.
The stinkiest feet.
Do what
I'm gonna be killing cats with my foot smell.
I'm very sorry, Professor Rozdzynski, for this being your intro here.
My bad, bro.
But let's get the professor in here. Let's do this.
Right. Yeah, man.
All right, welcome, Professor. How you doing?
How you guys doing? Good to see you guys again. Good to have this chat once again. It's been a while, right? How long has it been?
Oh God, I can't go by time in my mind. I go by episodes when we were way back in the double digits. I should say welcome back, Professor. Sure. But
it's good to be back.
Thank you for doing this again. You've met Miguel.
Yeah.
Once again, I don't know what jokes he'll come.
I don't think I was in that episode.
I don't think you were in that episode way back. We were doing that. Did you do any episodes at my house? I think that we were.
Which
still at
one?
my house.
The one.
The second townhouse before we moved.
The one that was right down the street from the gym. That house.
There was one that was behind the gym, and then there was one up Sample.
I did both.
Did you do? Okay.
Yeah, because you had that.
You weren't like a solid part of the show yet. Though.
Yeah. You had his house looked like a Barbie house. That shit was super weird.
This is where we should pull up the pictures.
It was super weird the way it's not your fault, it's the engineer's fault. Like honestly, like when you open up a Barbie house and it's like the floors are like this, like that's what his house was. It was like you come in, it was like
we did the podcast in the middle. Like you had to walk through the kitchen and through my office essentially to get to the bedrooms. Like there was only one way, so you always had to walk through that area.
It's actually a formal foyer.
So we had like moving mats up, like to hold, like to keep the sound in, so that we instead of having the sound tiles. It was weird. That was the second place.
You could fall off the stairs into a bedroom. Like
it was an odd construction, but it got us here. But again, listen, welcome back. Thank you so much for doing this a second time. Sorry we have to put you through this again. So how have you been? You still doing the podcast? You still doing Roll Radio?
Yeah, right. No, we still going. We're going at it over 2 years at this point. So it's been a fun ride. So starting a new year. With new episodes and new conversations similar to you guys.
Yeah.
Happy New Year's.
What stands out to you over the last year? Who was your favorite guest?
That's the hard part, I think, and I don't know how it's for you guys particularly, but for us, we have a lot of different guests and a lot of different stories, and it's not that you can't pick a favorite one, but all of them, each of them has a different message, different story, different background, and different funny or serious curves to it. So it's hard to pinpoint like one favorite one, but it's been so many impactful things that I tell you, like out of everything that I do, this is one of my favorite things, these conversations with people that normally you wouldn't have a opportunity to connect with. And then obviously, thousands out there listen to the similar and with the hope that we can impact and motivate people and give them a little bit of light on what jiu-jitsu is and what we do on a daily basis.
Yeah. When I go home, every time I go home, and we even do it here, we're always like, that was a great episode.
Yeah.
And then I go home and I tell my wife, I'm like, that was like the best episode we've ever. She's like, you say that every Thursday when you come home.
But it's nice.
And I'm like, but I think partially between us getting better with it and, a better flow. And listen, hats off to Bo behind the camera. He does an amazing job. And we mic'd him up now. Like, we like him to jump in. He's just got some good things to say.
We all give each other feedback too.
And then Miguel, we went to he started on the podcast because we went to a Jiu-Jitsu King event down in Miami. Yeah. We were training together. We didn't know each other really well. I was driving.
We were gym knowing.
Yeah,
each other,
yeah. Like your gym friends. And I was like, hey guys, I got tickets. Let's go down to this thing. We had free tickets. And on the way back, he just had the whole car was cracking up. I was just laughing the entire time. I didn't know that he was that funny.
Yeah.
And when I got home, one of my other co-hosts at the time, because we used to do more of a round table.
Yeah.
He sent me a message like, you got to have Miguel on the show. And I was like, I was thinking the same thing. And then I asked him to be on, and it was like, I think a few times here and there in the beginning, and then he just became a permanent part of the show. So it's been fun. But, again, going back, I tell my wife, it's like, I feel like we take something different away, and I think because it's fresh, you're like, wow, that was like one of the best ones, and it's just becomes more impactful. I think
I would say it's easier. An easier question to follow to answer would be, which one was your worst episode for yourself?
Oh, like how you can't ask. No, you can't ask that. That's not a fair question.
No. Which episode was the worst in the way that you did the podcast? Like how you were behaving in the podcast. There's like the mess ups of doing it.
So, so like I think last year we got really good in the sense of we minimized the amount of errors and mistakes that we've made. But listen, there was one episode, literally we had an hour and a half conversation, phenomenal conversation, was not recorded. The red button was not pressed. I am not even kidding you.
I have that fear.
Imagine that conversation with a guest. So things happen. Yeah. Like it is what it is. Or like recently even we had one episode where something happened with a connector on the mic. And like anytime I talk is like try that again. Yeah. So
I have that fear. I have that fear every week. It's always like this little thing. I'm like, I know Bo's got it, and it's never happened. But I have that fear.
Professor Mike from Henzo's.
Yeah.
Remember, he had no visual of us.
Oh,
we had a visual of him.
Yeah, we had a great interview with Professor Jaramillo from up at Henzo's in New York. And he didn't say anything, but
was that Jaramillo or was that Mike?
No, Mike Jaramillo.
Oh, yeah, Mike.
Professor Mike Jaramillo. Oh. He couldn't see us for half the podcast, but he didn't say anything. But luckily, like we got the full video coming in, but he couldn't see us, and it was a wire on our side that was turning off my camera on the Zoom, so like we couldn't see it. So that could have gone really bad. But that's one of my favorite episodes. It was a great dude. I have a story though. We were talking about Jits Kings. We were helping them get a podcast off the ground when they years ago. And they really didn't wind up doing anything with it. I'm not sure if they're going to come back with it.
They got a cool room out of it.
But yeah, they got an awesome room. They went all out on the room. They just never went. I don't think they ever got the podcast off the ground.
Might have been a front for a man cave.
Yeah, right. And they did an episode with John Combs, and they got none of his audio. It was like their first. I believe it was the first episode they recorded. And I'm not taking shots at them. Those dudes are great. They got an event coming up soon. I know Florence doing some stuff with them.
Man, that shit happens.
They told me that, and part of what we were doing, we were going to be there. They were going to record in our studio, but they're really far away from us. It's hours. It's a couple hour drive. So it was like they were like, we're going to do it on our own. I gave them some tips. We talked about equipment, and something happened on that end, and they didn't get his audio, and they just could have never come out with that episode. So I mean that shit happen. It actually does happen.
And I think what's interesting about all this is I think this happens to everybody. Just not everybody knows about it. Nobody talks about it. Like we are just talking about it, but everybody who's listening is like, "What? Are you serious?"
Do you guys like cut your? We don't, with the exception of maybe one or two times that somebody said something that was. I had a guest I won't say who. Guess we had 3 people on the episode on the guest side, and one of the guests got a little like, he started telling stories and that he shouldn't have been telling about some very popular people. And they, after the episode, they called me and they were like, "Hey, dude, can you cut that part out?" And I was like, "We don't cut anything out. We, with the exception of maybe that episode and one other out of 100, this is 105.
Yeah.
We've never really cut anything out, right? But we've never really...
We bleeped a couple of things, but like a bleep here and there.
A bleep because something was like off or odd. Yeah. Never cut out any video. Like, what you see is what you get. Again, maybe a bleep because somebody said something odd, usually Bo. And yeah, so we had to cut out this like entire, I would say it was a few minutes, maybe no more than 5 minutes of him telling this story about some very popular people, and it was, they were worried because they were looking for sponsors, and they just didn't. They're like, yeah, this is going to hurt us if people hear other sponsors or other people hear us talking about a potential sponsor like this, giving like, peek behind the curtain. That was the only time we did it. But do you guys cut stuff? I know sometimes, like, I say all the time. I get it. Like, some people cut out the uhs and they cut certain things. Do you do that?
No, we try to keep it as organic as possible.
Yeah.
So like the only times that I can recall that we manipulated the audio and video is when there was a technical difficulty. So we lost connection on something, instead of having a 30-second pause, we kind of chopped it out and removed it to kind of clean it up.
Yeah.
But outside of that, us, all the other things, occasional F-bomb gets drops and it's fine, but we do have a conversation with every guest ahead of the episode and kind of getting on the same ball, on the same level of what we're going to be talking about and what's, just to make sure that some of these avoidable things can be avoided, simply to create a, fabulous conversation and create a good episode for the listeners.
So you also do is it Roll Academy or the Roll Academy? It's Roll Academy.
It's Roll Academy.
Roll Academy. Like, you're also doing those videos, right? You've got your YouTube. Obviously I see your stuff on Instagram. You're still doing that as well, right?
Yeah, that's in full production. So, aside from the academy itself, where obviously we train and teach, we have the online platform, which we call the Roll TV, but is essentially a subscription service with at this point thousands of videos, and we keep producing that every week. We film it and put stuff in. Jiu-jitsu is so large that I feel like you never can document everything, and a lot of people take advantage of it, and so it helps. I think with jiu-jitsu today, it's being so accessible, being on the phones, like everything is here, and and you can get it on your phone, on your iPad, or whatever device you're using
at the gym.
But it's part of our natural kind of organic way of learning these days. So ignoring that aspect of jiu-jitsu would be even hindering to a student. So we embrace that.
How do you come up with your how do you come up with your content? Is it usually like, hey, this is what this is what we taught this week, so let's do a video? Or is it like super planned out, or are you kind of just more like, hey, we worked on this today, let's like film this move or this escape or sweep or what have you?
Yeah, so we go in like sprints, if you will. It's like, if I'm working on a particular project, so like if let's just say we are focusing in the classes like on, let's just say, butterfly guard, and there's not enough content on a platform on butterfly guard, we'll spend few weeks on literally just producing butterfly guard and just getting it out there as a package, but there's often at times where it's kind of a slower time on that, and you see things come up or questions come up in classes, and it's like, oh yeah, that could be useful, and so it's a combination of both. Either it's driven by a specific topic and we really produce 40-50 videos within that umbrella, or kind of the randomness of YouTube or Instagram in an organized way would be fed into the platform as well.
I was just gonna say, where do you think we are in like the technology region of solo drilling at home, like to actually improve your game? Do you think, like, I feel like people were putting out instructionals before hoping you had a dummy or not a dummy, another person to do it with. It's kind of how it was catered, but now they make like solo drills. Like, where do you think we are You know what I'm trying to say? I'm like, where are we? Where it's actually making a difference?
Yeah. It's correct me if I'm understanding this correctly, but essentially you're asking where are we as far as technology is concerned to be self-sufficient to learn things at home? Is that where you're going with it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Thank you to Feito IT and AV, specializing in commercial and residential automation, security cameras, CCTV, POS, and more. Check them out at feitoitav.com or call 305-428-2515 and let them know the dummy sent you. Thank you to Neutral Zone CBD, a combat family-owned company that supports athletes and the people who love them. Neutral Zone strives to deliver clean CBD products for sports recovery in gummies, lotions, balms, roll-ons, and more. After a competition, a hard rolling session, or a tough day on the job, Neutral Zone has a product designed to help you reduce inflammation, increase cell rejuvenation, and may even help with aging joints. Visit NeutralZoneCBD.com and get 25% off your order with code JJD. And follow them on Instagram too, at MyNeutralZone. Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box has now joined the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. The BJJ box is delivered to your door filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. The crew at the BJJ box find the best in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Visit thebjjbox.com and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box. And give them a follow on Instagram at TheBJJBox. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
Yeah, so when I look at jiu-jitsu in general, like as a big umbrella, right? We have multiple ways of learning, and this has nothing to do with jiu-jitsu itself. This is just education in general, in my opinion, at least, right? So like you can go into a classroom and you can learn things, right? And there would be a typical class and so on, right? Then we can go to a sparring session, which is a little bit less organized, and think of it as a quiz or a midterm, things of that nature, right? Then you have seminars, which I think they are slowly disappearing now, right? But it's still a platform to learn. Then you have private lessons, which are very hyper-focused on singular attention to the student and a kind of question answer or focusing on a very specific topic. That's still a way to learn. It's very different than the others, and then you have the online stuff, right? And that's the new thing that's kind of been bubbling up lately, right? In the last several years. And I think the trick is to use as many as you can of these platforms without sacrificing others, yet maximizing the amount of time that you do. So what I mean by this, let's just say that you train 6-8 hours a week, hypothetically. If you spend all 8 hours watching videos, but you don't show up to the academy, your return on that investment is going to be very little. Yeah. Now, if you show up to the academy only, but you don't do sparring sessions, your return is going to be much lower too, right? So then, but if you take a kind of a medium approach to all of it, and you dip into several different ways of doing this, so you attend classes on your regular basis, you do your studying online, you attend your sparring sessions, you attend seminar once in a while. Now you're really dipping into different ways of learning, and you're stimulating your brain. In my mind, learning jiu-jitsu is not any different than sitting in a math class. It's all about education. How do you process information? How do you memorize it and understand it? And then how can you execute it in an efficient way in this particular circumstance that you find yourself in, right? So if you take that approach, you really want to maximize this, right? And I know there's a lot of people who watch videos only, and they have no desire showing up in the academy. And listen, if that works, then who am I to judge? But from my experience, we kind of got to dip into all of this.
There's always outliers.
What's interesting about, say again?
I said there's always outliers. I'm sure there's somebody out there that could literally only work on a dummy and have like different types of dummies and then go and compete and actually be a competitor. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, listen, I have students who will watch an Instagram video, a little 15-second clip, and they can process that information and be really efficient with it. And then I have other students who, no matter how much effort they put into it, they have to drill over and over and over and over hundreds, if not thousands of times. And it's all about repetition, right? We are humans. We learn different ways. Some people love the touch. Other people love the visual stimulation. Other people need to understand and comprehend. It's not cookie cutter, right? We all have to adapt to these situations.
Yeah, I'm definitely the guy, like, I need to see it. I need to hear it. I need to, like, walk around my professor while he's showing it and see, wait a minute, where is his foot exactly? Where is this? What are you doing with this hand? I need to understand all of those things and I've got to drill it until I get it. I'm not one and done. I can't look at it and go, oh, I could do that. Unless it's like an addition to something that I already do well.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like, oh, there's a transition from a north-south to this, you know, this arm bar or this triangle, you know, whatever it may be. Unless it's like a variation of what I'm doing, then that's faster. I get that faster. But if it's something brand new, I'm like, I got to see it and I have to drill it. I'll suck at it until I drill it a lot.
See, I come from engineering background. Like, I'm engineer by trade before my jiu-jitsu life. So like everything has to make sense to me. Like, if there is just a little bit off balancing for me, it's like, this doesn't make sense to me.
Yep.
I have to understand why am I leaning this way? Why is gravity pulling me here? What is making me stand stable? Where am I, like, you know, and I feel that that's worked very well for me from a comprehension perspective. So I don't have to memorize the steps. I can really just understand what is happening around me. But I know for a fact that I have students that I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Give me the 7 steps. And I'm just, boom, and they are flying with it. So we are humans. That's what it boils down to.
I'm concept oriented too, with that engineering background.
And like my day job of running a marketing company, like my daughter works for me now. So I meet with her every single morning right now while I'm training her on every aspect of the business. And when she asks me a question I like to answer, she asks me a question and I say, why are you asking me that question? Okay, oh, this client said this. Okay, here's the answer, and this is what they're going to ask you next, or this is what's going to come up next. So I'll give her like this very long, okay, let's talk about why. Here's the solution or the answer, but also this is what's going to happen. It's almost like jiu-jitsu, right? It's just like, okay, I'm learning this move, all right, and oh, this is what happens next, or this is the transition, or this is the counter, so you need to know that. So like I always give that. So like my mind works like that with jiu-jitsu as well. I got to know, okay, why would I be here? Okay, I'd be here because somebody took me down. This is the answer, or this is the move. Then what happens next? Like, I like to see all of that. And I'm lucky enough that, I don't know if it's maybe that my professor trained me to learn that way, or if I was always like that before, because my professor does do that. It's just like always a series. Not that everybody doesn't do this, but I know I'm very comfortable with my professor in like, okay, you're going to be here. This is the answer. And look, here are a whole bunch of variations and then the counter. So I'm just so used to learning like that. So I guess it kind of probably just fit in with the way that I like to learn. So I really do like that. Let me ask you this. How long have you been training jiu-jitsu now?
22 years.
So you've seen the evolution of this video side of training. When you were a younger jiu-jitsu player, were you, I would guess, like it was back when, like, I always hear the stories, like people were trading videos and maybe there was something online that was just like super underground.
I'm looking at my shelf right. I'm looking at my shelf right now.
Okay.
I think I have one of those Gracie action DVD things. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Gracie's in action. Gracie in action, or Gracie's in action.
Yeah.
Is
it's
it
like
the big
the bootlegged version? but you know, speaking of evolution, I remember being a white belt, beginning of my journey, and there was no DVDs. There's none of that. There's obviously Google. I don't even know if Google exists at that point, but You know, we had books. That's what we had. Like the recent, you know, students who just engage in they don't understand. It's hard to understand that part. But like we had books, and you came up, you got hold of the book, and it's like you know, this is gold. Oh, you know, and everybody sits around you. You are looking, and it's like the funny part I remember is like each page would contain like 6 photos, right? And they would have little descriptions and little steps, right?
Figure one.
And then you watch yeah. And you look step 1 and you do, okay, this is this. Step 2. Okay, we got it. Step 3. Oh, wait a minute. How did he get from step 2 to step 3? This doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then you spend literally like full day trying to figure out, and you have nobody to ask. I mean, like, you know, I think in a way, you know, we are spoiled today, and this is not a bad thing. Like, you know, we shouldn't take this as negative, but I think we should appreciate what we have. And sometimes we don't, like we take it for granted. Yeah. You know, looking on your phone and being able to access anything in jiu-jitsu for free from virtually anybody, which we can today. It was unheard of. It wasn't even in the umbrella of you know, in a spectrum of comprehension, you know. And today is a reality.
How did your professor look at you, or what were his perceptions of getting that knowledge outside of learning it through him? Was it looked on negatively? Because I feel like it was like until COVID. Yes, people were doing stuff, but until COVID, it wasn't universally accepted. Yeah. People shit all over the Gracies for Gracie's University. I've been doing, June will be 9 years that I've been training. My coach I used to drive him nuts by bringing video. I used to bring my iPad and sit it on the mat. Used to drive him crazy, and then he finally embraced it. How did your professor look at you, and how have you seen that change?
You know, over a period of 2 decades, because that's what we're talking about. I'm old, but over a period of 2 decades, things have changed. Things have changed. You know, of course, one, I call it a maturity of jiu-jitsu, you know, has adopted these other mediums of learning, right? Before it was a class and an occasional seminar. That's all it was. There was nothing else, you know. Then it was like, you know, why is this guy going to the other gym? Oh, he's a traitor, and these other things, like all these things. And absolutely. And even to this day, you know, this does exist, you know. And if you look at it, why this happens, and I'm not an expert on this topic, but, you know, I think it's partially the cultural team-oriented kind of sources of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where you had a handful of teams and they fought against each other, and there was a lot of pride in it. You know, but the moment this migrated to United States or Western countries, you know, that kind of started to disappear. And then you have this clash of cultures, you know, and I'm sure people who are listening, some will disagree with it, but it is what it is. Like today in the United States or most of the world, like you go get Dunkin' Donuts and then you go get Starbucks or then you get Pete's Coffee, and nobody really cares where you got your coffee because you love coffee. It is what it is. And, you know, but jiu-jitsu is very territorial, or used to be at least very territorial about these things. So I think in the past, you know, 5-7 years, slowly that started to kind of open up. And during pandemic, I think we were just forced to do it. There was no other choice. It was either you train or you find a place where you could train, which could be frowned upon. It is what it is. And because of the circumstances that we found ourselves in, I think it became a little bit more accepted. And, you know, honestly, I mean, I speak openly about this, but I think we should be able to train everywhere. You know, I don't think there is a reason not to. I mean, I don't know what – now, that's different for competition. Don't take me wrong. If we are competing against a team, that's different. That's different, you know, approach for the purpose. But as far as training and being friends and hanging out with each other, I mean, why wouldn't we? I mean, that's changing. It sounds kind of silly to me.
I think that's changing right now with the competitors, because now you have competitors that were training, you know, for Gracie Barra for 10, 15 years, and now they're with Alliance. And I
think it's more acceptable, and I think people realize
there's money now.
Now that there's money in it. Now that there's money in it and you can make a living out of this, I don't think the average competitor is going to let, or the above average competitor is going to let somebody say, you can't go train with them, which for the competitor, it's going to make the jiu-jitsu better. Yeah. And they're going to make more money, and they can feed their family and achieve their goals. You just can't tell somebody you can't go train with this anymore, because the competitor, a lot of competitors have become bigger than the gym, right? Their names have become bigger than the gyms that they train at. How are you going to hold somebody back from achieving more? I think that some of the best competitors that we see right now are people that do cross-train or go to just travel and do seminars, run them and then train with the, like the best black belts in the world talk about how they learn even from a blue belt. They can learn something. You can learn something from everybody you train with, right?
No, absolutely, 100% agree. And there's the other aspect of it too, like the business aspect. Many academies, not all of them, but many academies are very professional these days. They provide a service, which there is a charge associated with it. So it's run as a business, not as a club. And if that's the approach, well, I cannot imagine telling any of my students, like, you paying my membership, that means you cannot go anywhere else. I don't think I would be in business, but again, some do. Yeah. I'm not the one to judge, to each their own, whatever.
I think people they're kind of not weeding themselves out, but that thought process is getting aged out. It's as those instructors that didn't like their students training with other people get older. I think the younger generation, the ones that are owning gyms now, they just don't care. It's like, it's part. Craig Jones had a video the other day. He's like, don't message me to come train. Just come train. You don't have to message me to let me know you're going to be in town to come train. Anybody can come here and train, right? The B team. Yep. So, I think that's just the mentality now. You've got some of the best in the world saying things like that. How can you tell your students, like, no, you can't go train with somebody else and gain some more knowledge?
I got a comment and then a question, right? So the comment is right after you said the B team thing. We even got it now where you have two teams that used to be one team, and I think they're like in cahoots to create fake beef to make it's like they're still friends. Like, if you don't think those guys are friends,
they're brothers.
Yeah, that. Like, I think now we're to the stage where, like, at the WWE stage where people are doing stuff because it's hard to make money in this sport.
I've thought about that. Is this real? Is this contrived? Like,
we can talk about it.
Yeah.
I think so. You don't think so?
I've heard John Danaher talk about it, and I don't think he would be part of that. Like, if he was like, if you guys want to do this weird thing, go ahead. But he's talked about it, that there was a little bit of a falling out between the brothers.
Theatrics for money in jiu-jitsu?
But also you got to think about this, right? These are competitive teams that we are right now that you guys are talking about. These are teams that their existence is based on winnings and performance, right? So there is a certain level of expectation. Should we train with them? Should we not train with them? How do we exchange that information and so on? So it creates this weird dynamic. If you put the competition aside, let me rephrase. If you put the professionals aside, right? 90%, 95% of jiu-jitsu community, it's hobbyists. That's what it is. If you look at that, how do you tell a police officer who's put his life on the line every single day that he can train in one place, I cannot train on the other place, or even make any type of comment here? Yeah. Like, in my opinion, it's more important that person trains, period, versus being selective or giving anybody hard time about it.
My saying is, there's more of us than them. Yeah. There are more hobbyists and people who do this because they love jiu-jitsu and not because they're going to turn into a business. And that I include in, when I say us, people that probably never going to own a gym, maybe never coach, maybe compete, but don't even want to compete.
Hobby compete. You go to IBJJF is probably like the Cadillac of competing. It's not a mess. It's... what I mean? It's a good experience.
We'll get into the next conversation about that in a second, what we were talking about before the show, what I said I was going to bring up. But, yeah, it really is a different world, and I think just kind of it's been an out with the old, in with the new kind of, thought process for so much of this. I just don't think that you can operate the way you did 5 or 10 years ago. It's just outdated, right? But yeah, there's just definitely more hobbyists.
Right?
All right, I got an evolution question.
I think I think if you even step back away from the jiu-jitsu itself, if you like kind of completely remove yourself from the environment that we are talking about, you look at phones. 20 years ago, what was it? Primeco, freaking, it was 3 pounds big, like a brick.
You couldn't get on the internet.
You can literally have your entire life on it, right?
Yeah.
Things evolve. That's the point I'm trying to make. Everything is changing because of the technology, and we are smarter, we are more intelligent. You know, being stuck in a way, no matter what topic we talk about, I think it's just going against human evolution. Like we have to be able to adapt to the new ideas, new situations. Like, you know, have you thought, like 10, 20 years ago, have you thought about car running on a battery or self-driving car or you flying to the moon potentially? No. If you mentioned that, people thought you were crazy. You were completely out of your mind.
You don't
Look at today.
You don't have to leave your house for anything if you don't want to.
Do you think? Do you think? I mean, it's such.
Come on, I want to ask my question. So
I wonder. You just said going to the moon. Like, would I actually be able to go to the moon before I die, as a passenger? Will that really happen? You see, he mentioned going to the moon.
I can make it happen.
I think about it all the time.
That's easy.
Are we going to get there? Are we going to get to a place where we can actually?
And we did it in 1969.
No, but like as a like tourism. Yeah. Like actually go and like there's going to be a place for me to sleep and stay, or will it be like maybe I'll be able to fly into space and come back?
It's easy. Just make a ton of money and you can make it happen. That's the dumbest question ever. Just be rich as fuck.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I'll even give it a extended date. 100 years from now, do you think we'll have a cardio jiu-jitsu class? And what I mean by that is like, you know, when you meet people and they're like, hey, what do you do? It's like, oh, I train Muay Thai. And then you go to another person and then they go, oh, I do, what was that dude's workout? The workout plan? Where it was
Tai Bo.
Yeah, Tai Bo. Like I do Tai Bo, right? Which is cardio-based workout based off of a martial art.
You're basically saying with no... sparring.
They'll never touch, not even training, because we don't spar. We train with each other.
We have this conversation a lot. I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna just translate this a bit. He believes, and we saw something recently.
100%.
He believes that there are gonna be jiu-jitsu academies that pop up that do jiu-jitsu moves, but you never spar.
Never. You don't even drill with each other. Just jiu-jitsu cardio class. Like how you would say, I do
like a Tai Bo. And look, I love my wife. Honey, I love you dearly. I always joke. She goes to, I say she does kickboxing. She goes to a kickboxing. She's never sparred.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah, it's a perfect example. Like it's, like the most popular one is like I Love Kickboxing, right? That's the national chain, I think. Yep. She goes to one here locally called Raw Kickboxing. And I say she's a kickboxer. But the only time she spars is when she's hitting me in the kitchen.
For jiu-jitsu.
I honestly, I think you can give us answer for this because you are the master of marketing. Because it's in some aspect, this all boils down to the product that's being sold.
Yeah.
Right. So think about it this way: we already have drilling classes at the academies. They have zero sparring. We already do. But the purpose is different, right? Drilling class, the purpose is to kind of smooth the moves, remove the thinking process, removing decision-making process. We are just drilling. We're drilling. And there you have different drilling sessions. Some of them are comprehension-driven, some of them are physically driven. But if you look at it from the outside perspective, we are already doing this.
Yeah.
During pandemic, everybody was drilling with dummies. So technically, we have already been doing this, just nobody's acknowledging this. Now, in order for this to be turned into a business... I'm just saying,
Hey, what was the name of the dude with the hair?
You could be.
What was the name of the dude with the hair and the short shorts from back in the day?
Richard Simmons.
I want to be the Richard Simmons.
Richard Simmons.
I want to be the Richard Simmons of jiu-jitsu cardio.
Of what would we call it? Jiu-jitsu bow?
Listen, you could be the first jiu-jitsu academies that doesn't require a partner. You just come with your dummy and you do it.
And
right?
sure.
So Professor, we've actually I got a head rush. Oh wow!
There you go.
So
break fall. Technical stand up.
Yeah. So we do that, right? Don't we do that? We do that where we're not touching anybody else. The other day, I messaged him.
Foot to the knee.
I messaged him, and I was like, "You were right." And I sent him a video from a class of people using kettlebells and weights And now look, I'm not shitting on it though. I'm not shitting on it at all.
It's a hard workout.
It was somebody was running, and it looked like he had a regular academy. I don't remember the background. I can't say I remember the name of the academy, but it was very much called, like, I think the page was dedicated to exercise-based jiu-jitsu, like doing the moves with kettlebells. And listen, I probably wouldn't make it through the first class. So I sent it to him though, and I'm like, you were right.
Yeah,
it's happening. But I don't believe that's his only product. I think it's in support of those people there that do jiu-jitsu. So I don't think it's a bad thing. You were kind of calling it more like, when I hear you talk about it, it's almost like, what's the dance one that they do?
Samba?
Zumba. Like Zumba. Yeah. Like you were like, it's going to get that bad. Yeah, your mom's going to be doing like a film of like a Zumba jiu-jitsu. I know that's what he's talking about, but I think you're right, Professor, that it's here already.
I think that... Yeah, I think, and again, I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. Drilling on doing some of these things, even like calisthenics exercises, targeted towards jiu-jitsu, they serve a purpose, right? But I think the big question is, will this replace what jiu-jitsu is?
Yeah.
That's the bigger question.
Yeah.
Because the moment majority of academies stop sparring and start having, a physical contact, and they start replacing that with something else, now you're talking about a change of everything, right? Yeah. And now, do we call this jiu-jitsu or do we call this something else? Like, I don't know, but
I don't think that happens. I don't think it goes as far as you think it's going to do.
100 years from now.
He smiled. He's so proud that he's like, I'm at the forefront of this. I just think that in support of, like you would do, like people do yoga in support of their jiu-jitsu, right? Or just go do weight training in support of your jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Or solo drills. I've mentioned videos from people before, like solo drills. Professor, you said it during the pandemic, right? Some people were just doing solo drills. They were getting stronger in certain positions. Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think you talk about it more like in my mind. If I'm reading your mind, or I'm like looking through your mind's eye, it's like Zumba music, like some salsa music playing, and somebody doing jiu-jitsu moves.
It's gonna be capoeira music in the background. And when you get promoted, you get a different colored spandex, and then your stripes are gonna be sweatbands. So like you'll get a sweatband with stripes. You know what I mean?
You're an idiot. Sorry,
it's gonna be good.
That's crazy.
What are you talking about, dude? If you take a stranger to an open mat, that's a no-gi open mat, and you bring him in there, and it's literally a bunch of sweaty dudes wearing colored spandex. It's like, why is he wearing all purple?
It's like that now, though, isn't it?
Why is that dude wearing all purple right now?
Whenever I'm absent from jiu-jitsu because of an injury or whatever, I'm only usually out if I have an injury or I have a problem, and I'll always come in, and I'll just walk in, and I'll be like, is this the jazzercise place?
Yeah. Sometimes
like, where have you been?
I don't think
do a jazzercise.
I don't think you've been doing jiu-jitsu long enough until you have like an epiphany of how weird it is while you're doing it.
Yeah, well,
a couple times it's kind of like, dude, that the guy that never wears a shirt to a gi class. And we're practicing north-south.
I won't roll with that guy.
Oh, dude, happens all. I don't care.
Yeah, you got it.
And then they try. And thanks to Gordon Ryan, everybody's trying to smother everybody now.
Yeah.
It's like, hey guys, we got to get rid of this. It's already not looking good.
I've never rolled with somebody. I've never rolled with somebody not wearing a shirt unless they were wearing a gi and they didn't have a shirt underneath. So I have had professors chest squishing me in my face, but I've never rolled no gi where somebody was rolling with complete.
I'm talking about a gi, no shirt.
Yeah. That's
all
happened.
The time.
Yeah.
Or if you compete at IBJJF and they happen to suck a little bit more than you have a time to think about how weird this is.
The one thing I wanted to touch on, Professor, was I feel like it's in my feed a ton right now, is steroids in jiu-jitsu. I'm not sure how much of a fan you are of the competition side of like the WNOs and Gordon Ryan and things like that. Do you have an opinion? I mean, these guys are kind of going back and forth like, well, everyone's doing it. I'm like, yeah, that's great. But, you're not doing it in other major sports. What are your thoughts? Do you have any?
Right. I mean, listen, I think, until some kind of overseeing body of rules and regulations comes in play, then it's a wild, wild west.
Everybody.
That's essentially what everybody does whatever they want. And whoever points a finger at somebody else and they are doing or not doing it, listen, there's no rules of guidelines or anybody to keep anybody responsible, right? This is the same thing when you look at UFC, 20 years ago. I mean, that's essentially is the same situation, right? There's this new thing that is getting bigger, and jiu-jitsu has been around for a long time, but professional jiu-jitsu is very new. Think about it for a moment. Yeah. Like Gordon Ryan, arguably, is the very first professional jiu-jitsu athlete. And I'm not taking anything from anybody else, but he is definitely the one who's painting the path for everybody else. I agree. He's making millions and nobody else does, right? So, looking at it from that perspective, this is very, very new. And until there are some rules around all of this, people will do whatever they want. And is it fair? I don't know. Well, there's no rules. So there was nobody to say that we can do it. Now, is it fair to other people who want to be clean? No, it's not, because these are extra supplements that, give you
I can't afford
give you things that you normally wouldn't have.
People can't afford it too,
Do you know, I think I know the answer to this question, but one championship, they don't test, right?
It's no, even, what are you talking about? IBJJF test, but it's more of an intelligence test.
Well, forget about that for a second, though. I'm talking, where I was going to go was, I think that one championship, one FC, is at the forefront of bringing jiu-jitsu to the
again intelligence
to the public, right? Where you can have a jiu-jitsu match, you can have just a striking match, you can have an MMA match. I think that they're doing it right. I think that they're doing something that the UFC isn't doing, and at least for guys in our world, it's kind of cool that I'm going to watch an MMA fight tonight, or you say like you're going to watch the ONE FC card tonight. And there are two guys that we know that you're going to do two just jiu-jitsu only matches. Mm-hmm. I think that's incredible. I didn't think it would happen. I wasn't paying attention to ONE FC. I didn't really. That's that Asian organization. I wasn't paying attention to it at all. And then it was just now it's bigger. Now it's on Prime. Yeah. Now it's everywhere. Mm-hmm. Now they're inviting these Americans over and are putting on these fights
everywhere, man. The whole world.
I don't know how far they are from testing, because if you bring it, Gordon's sign there, I don't know if it expired, but, I don't know. I know he got sick and he couldn't fight. But my point here is will there come a point where, because it's now a professional sport and there is this place where you can go do this, if they will cut down on the steroids? I don't think they're doing it now. I don't think that there's any testing at all. We could probably Google that. At one,
they do a hydration test.
Do they do? Yeah, to make weight. Are they going to let guys, a guy like Gordon fight a guy that's not doing that's all
Have you seen any of the matches? If one of those one championship people rolled at your gym and you had to get tested by USADA, it'd be recommended by a doctor not to touch them for a week. That's how much steroids they're doing. Yeah, is what I'm telling you.
Well, but I think if they have the opportunity to, if they're going to bring jiu-jitsu into their true MMA organization, I think they have an opportunity to clean up the professionals. Now, they're the ones offering the most money. Nobody else is doing this. WNO, Fight to Win, love watching them. Nobody's spending the money that one championship is. Do they have the opportunity or the responsibility to then clean it up and make sure that guys are coming in clean so that it's a fair fight? Right,
and I think as the evolution takes place, right, as this thing gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, some of these things will continue changing. I mean, we can have a similar conversation about rule sets. Yeah, we can pick this apart for an hour. Which rules are better than the others, right? And it's different topic, but as a similar concept here, there is not one overseeing body to put this all together. If you look at judo, taekwondo, karate, I don't care which modern martial art, they've been around for a long time. There's one organization that looks over all of it and is kind of systemized, right? This is what you can, this is what you cannot do. These are the rules, these are the guidelines. This is what we are doing, right? Beauty of jiu-jitsu is that does not exist at this point of time. We have IBJJF, we have ADCC, we have these all these organizations who put their own rule sets because they want to be more appealing. Ultimately, this has to be a spectator sport. Think about it.
Yep.
If we're not watching this, nobody's making money. I mean, that's the bottom line, right? This is not becoming professional, right? NBA or NFL is not professional sport because, guys are playing. It's because everybody's watching it.
Sponsors,
and that's
money.
where the money's being made.
There's eyeballs on it, and then
stadiums.
Companies want to show their logos.
Absolutely. So in order for
stadiums.
this to be a professional sport, a truly professional sport, there has to be money vested into it. And the grapplers need to get paid. Now, how do we organize this? How do we make this so this is appealing, not boring, and then rules are equal to everybody? Now, listen, I'm not smart enough to suggest anything here, but I think as this goes on over the next decade or 2 or 3 or 100 years, as Miguel is saying, we're going to be flying to the moon and
cardio,
doing Zumba together,
and doing,
this
we're going
could
to be doing
fully
Zumba jiu-jitsu on the flight.
Life after jiu-jitsu, bro.
Listen. Listen, I have a prediction, okay? Episode 300, we're going to meet again. And Miguel is going to show up. Miguel is going to show up in his spandex little shorts.
Neon.
And, few stripe across his thing.
Neon.
And he's going to be the expert.
Yo, I'm going to be, did you see that blue belt? Did you see that blue belt that promoted himself to black belt because God...
Did he go right from blue to black? Is that
well,
is
he
that
said God did that.
Yeah. I've seen the memes,
And
but
then,
I didn't.
and then he put a picture of like God line above
the Gracies.
above Helio.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness, bro.
I haven't looked. I've seen the pictures, but this is the same guy that then also promoted like his wives, his 2 wives.
Yeah, and then they promoted him back because he was a brown belt or something, but then he's a blue belt. I don't know what's going on.
Very strange.
If it's fake, it's great because I don't think officially Instagram jiu-jitsu has like a Babylon Bee like everybody does satire stuff,
okay,
but nobody does serious satire stuff like where they would come out with like the Onion or something like that.
I was gonna say I had Onion.
Yeah, exactly. It's like guy goes to lunch at 10:59 because fuck it, like that's the headline. But for jiu-jitsu,
back to you lost me there. If you go back, I do think that things are going to change. I do think that again, one championship has the best format to clean things up if they wanted to.
I thought the Olympics
But
were.
I don't know. Are we going to become an Olympic sport, and does that help clean things up? I don't know. But Professor, are you? Did we? Oh yeah, you were like stuck there for a second. You with us? You just started moving again.
I'm here. I'm here.
So anyway, so let's move on. So, I don't think that we did our drill down with you the first time that we had you. We've always done these like 7 or 8 questions that we ask just about every guest, and you can elaborate. We're not looking to speed things up or anything like that. But in the beginning, it used to be like, hey, we called it the speed round. And then it was just like we spent more time on these questions than than the entire podcast. So, all right. So, Bo, go.
The drill.
We're talking about
big time. Ready? The drill down.
There we go.
down.
Poe also does voiceover work if you want to hire him. Work at Bad Works on Instagram.
WERKS.
All right. So, gi or no gi? What's your preference?
It's silly.
Gi.
Gi? Oh, wait, are you doing no gi? I think I almost always see you in the gi. I'm not sure if I've seen you in a no gi kit.
I do, but it's gi is my fascination, and I'm by please no means don't take me away. Don't misunderstand me. I think no gi is by far more fascinating, more dynamic, more entertaining factor. That's what we are seeing on TV, with some of the grapplers. But for me personally, gi is the area where the technicality comes in. That you really, I have to challenge myself because of the friction, because of the grips, because of the entanglements and all the other things, right? So I'm a huge fan of gi.
What do you think about people who say? I'm not advocating this statement, but people that say like, "Oh, no gi's more realistic in a street fight."
Yeah.
What do you think about that statement?
They are right. They are right. I mean, no gi is more realistic in a street fight. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you look at it, if you look at a situation itself, right, the no gi has a little bit less confinement, a little bit less rules around it, right? Like on the street, if somebody's breaking your leg, you can't say, "Oh, listen, you're a white belt, you can't break." No, like if you look at street fights, it's street fight, right? Matter of fact, like if we're talking about being close to the street fight, we got to start talking about some of these, Eastern Bloc, competitions they do with street jiu-jitsu and slapping and all the other things.
So like car jiu-jitsu.
Have you guys seen those?
They've got them in a
car jiu-jitsu.
Have you seen those?
Car jiu-jitsu is my favorite. I watch it all the time.
Well, the phone booth was a recent.
It's already evolved.
A recent one that somebody showed me.
Yeah.
Say again?
Oh, I was gonna say with the car jiu-jitsu, it's already evolving. Like it's like a real game. Like before, people would just take off their seatbelts and just start going at it. Now the professional move is when they say go, is with your non-dominant hand, you cover your buckle and unbuckle them. No, you unbuckle yourself and you cover their buckle. Okay. Yeah, that's what you do. So you cover their buckle and then you unbuckle yourself. So like that's the news. Like who's the fastest? So they're like obviously training.
Yeah.
Because they don't even get to pick driver's side or passenger side. So, dude, it's a good game.
I believe I've evolved on this a little bit as far as the no-gi side. I actually think isn't gi more realistic? Take moves out. I'm talking about the uniform.
Yeah, nobody's wearing
gi
spandex.
Is more like a real street fight because you could be wearing a jacket or you have a shirt, and I can use your clothing to manipulate you. So I think you can make the argument. I am making the argument that no, isn't gi the one that's more realistic because I can grab that right now?
Unless you run into John Danaher.
Yeah. I mean, that's my take.
Suppose it's all how you look at it, right?
Grips.
I mean, suppose how you look at it, because from a uniform perspective, you're 100% correct. I mean, most of the time we wear a jacket. Yeah. Most of the time we have something on our chest, and we have pants and so on, right? So from that perspective, yeah. But if you look at it from rule set perspective of what we are able to do, right? I don't know, some might lean towards no-gi, So it's like, listen, the bottom line is if you want to grapple, you want to be a good grappler, you should train both of them. Yeah. And they do overlap. There's a benefit between, training wrestling for jiu-jitsu. There is all these things, even judo for jiu-jitsu, all that is important. They give you components. Now, the rules of engagement are different in all of these, even the car jiu-jitsu, all the other things. Like, I'm pretty sure we could draw some good conclusions out of all these activities. But the point is, that listen, we have this opportunity to train this awesome thing, and like if you can get your hands on it and you're listening to it, you should. Matter of fact, while you're listening to this, you should be on the mat right now.
This is
that's why I ask before I roll with people. Ask them if they're left-handed or right-handed.
Really?
Uh-huh.
And then how does that change your game?
Because if they're left-handed, I play on my right side, and that's their dominant hand. Like if I end up in a bad position, I just both hands. I do 2-on-1 on their dominant hand.
Okay. Stupid observation. I keep on seeing it's wintertime and online, and I see people that take the scarf and they double it up and then they put it through the hole, through the hole.
No way.
I'm like, why would a
noose around your neck?
I'm like, yeah, you just basically gave me something to grab and I'm gonna freaking choke you.
It's called the clove.
I'm like, that guy definitely doesn't train.
That knot is called the clove hitch.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I look at that right now. I see it constantly. These videos are some gray-haired, 50+ model guy,
even
and
easier to
and
kill.
he's tying it slow motion, and I'm like, I totally choke him.
You just gotta teach him a cinch knot.
Yeah.
So when you pull on one end, it just gets tighter on the other.
Yeah.
So all right, next question: takedown or pull guard, Professor?
Takedown. I'm a judo guy. Takedown.
I was gonna ask you before. That was a question in the back of my. Were there any other martial arts that you trained coming up? I mean, so many people I started with Taekwondo when I was 7. My mom put me in. Did you study other martial arts?
So jiu-jitsu was my first. But I have put significant amount of time to understanding stand-up, understanding judo, and I'm a big believer of takedowns. And don't take me wrong, it doesn't have to be all airborne, all the other things, but having an ability, and I think this is the key, having ability to be comfortable on your feet.
Yeah,
is something that I think 90% of grapplers don't have.
Yeah.
That is key.
I agree.
Can I just call you out?
Guard pullers unite.
On one little thing. I think you said all that, and I loved it. but I think secretly you love foot sweeps.
I do.
Like, I do. Everybody says the same thing. Everybody says the same thing, but they only do judo so they could foot sweep.
Well, listen. So like this is a separate conversation, but I can tell you why that happens. I have my theory on this because if you look at judo in general, the purpose is to throw somebody and put their shoulders on the ground. The moment shoulders touch the ground, you get your keys, hot dog, new T-shirt, whatever. Go home. See you. You're done. Right? In jiu-jitsu, your shoulders touch on the ground. We are just starting.
Yeah.
So engaging into a full dynamic throw is inefficient, not ineffective, inefficient in jiu-jitsu. There's by far easier way to take somebody to the ground. And that's where foot sweeping comes in. Any type of ankle picks, foot sweeps, all that is off balancing and they go down to the ground, right? So it's a very easy way to, transition that elevation down to the ground and then you can start working, So that's my theory. And yes, I'm a huge fan of foot sweep, ankle picks, all that. But I also love getting people airborne, there's something behind that.
So back to the argument about like what's realistic and street fight. I do like that when I hear people having that argument, or I've been in a conversation with that argument, I'm like, so when was the last time that you had a street fight? I'll ask you, Professor, when was the last time that you had a street fight?
Good question.
Okay.
0.
When was the last time you had a street fight, Miguel?
Probably when I was still in the Army.
The last time I had a street fight, I had a fight in a club was before I started training jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I have not. I think that most people who train jiu-jitsu, you get humbled.
They're too tired to fight, bro.
You're too tired to fight. Your knees are bad and you don't want to fight. But I think that very early on, you get humbled and you start to realize, I don't know what other people know. And then when you get good, you say, I don't want to hurt somebody. I don't want to go to jail because I hurt somebody. Yeah. Right. So you're not starting fights.
Yep.
So I go back to the argument, somebody says, oh, that's not realistic, or they want to learn how to give me the old Gracie, I grab you from behind. I'm like, when was the last time that happened to you? I'm not saying that you shouldn't study those things, but when people start having arguments over what's better, or you should know this and that, when was the last time you had a street fight? You're having an argument over jiu-jitsu and street fighting and what's better. When was the last time you had a street fight? Everybody says no. The answers are the same here. Like, no. What's the argument? I go to jiu-jitsu for mental health. I go to jiu-jitsu for physical health and to work out and the camaraderie. That's why I'm there. After my heart attack, I was not so concerned about competing anymore. It's just like I didn't feel like I was going to be able to get there again, and maybe I will one day. But I'm there for a different reason. It goes back to the whole, there's more of us than them. I think there are more people like me that go because they like the camaraderie. It gets rid of their stress from the day. It makes them, and it makes them feel good. I don't know a lot of guys that are super ripped from just doing jiu-jitsu. Like, everybody does other stuff. So, like, if you want to get ripped and, go and be a professional, you got to do other stuff.
I think
I go there for that stress relief, and I love my training partners, and I like the camaraderie.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think PEDs are more prevalent in civilian jiu-jitsu than professional jiu-jitsu. Usually the executive class, like the over 40. Yeah,
well, everybody's doing some TRT now. We've talked about
they're
that.
They're business owners.
Yeah.
They're all...
Like, they want to keep up, and they're doing so. And
go for it, dude.
I'll say, what are you? We talked about PDs before. I know down here in Florida, everyone's doing some type of TRT or testosterone replacement. There are these places that are popping up that you can go and get your testosterone levels checked, and then be given a kit to go. Basically, it's not testosterone shot. You're helping your body create its own natural testosterone. That's essentially what everybody's doing now. Am I wrong?
No, yeah.
You understand
no. They're just staying at an equal level or a manageable level, like a not young, but a manageable level of testosterone through their body. And down here on top of that, your dudes are wearing pretty much no gi in South Florida all the time.
Do you are you seeing that same thing where you are? Or, I mean, again, I don't know if it's just, is it a Florida thing? Is it is it just like, oh, I'm going to go to the beach, 365?
Well, first of all, we don't wear shorts all year long because we would freeze where I'm at. But But I think it's getting, listen, like the last few years, I think that topic is getting a little bit more and more traction. You know, I think people, first of all, I think we are more aware of health in general. I think especially guys who have been training for a long time, and by long time, I mean more than 5 years. You know, we do see wear and tear. You know, like, you know, we had Zanji Ribeiro on our show on the Raw Radio, and he said something interesting that stuck me in my mind. He said, "It's not the amount of time that you train that gets you, is the mileage that you put in," and that's a very different mindset, right? Because you could have somebody who trains for 25 years, but they train once a week, and they are just, you know, kind of casual hobbyist, you know, they have no desire to compete. And you have somebody else who will train for 2 years, they will go 7 days a week, they will compete every weekend. The mileage on that person is going to be very different than on the first one, right? So it's not necessarily the age or how long we are training, is the wear and tear that we are putting on our bodies. And I think at some point we do have to think about recovery. Like, I think jiu-jitsu is one of the few, if not the only sport or activity that we really don't look at like the recovery component. Like, even the warm-ups, let's be honest. You're purple belt, you're not showing up to warm up. It is what it is. It's a waste of time, okay?
I'm not going to be that purple belt. I'm not going to be that purple belt. I love warm-ups.
I don't want to take you off your thought, Professor, but I have committed to myself to never be that person. And unless I'm coaching a class or I was coaching, I'm doing the warm-ups even when I'm a black belt.
Or just did the class before.
If there's something that I can't do because my back is screwed up or my knee, while they're doing the warm-ups, I can't do a specific move. I'm doing jumping jacks. I'm doing something. And, okay, there's like just certain things I can't do because of my lower back. But otherwise, I try to do everything. And I always did them in purple. I always did my warm-ups. Never showed up late unless it was like work-related. But I'm making a commitment to myself. I'm saying it here. I want to be the guy that's always doing my warm-ups, even at black belt.
Good for you. I mean, good for you. But listen, there is more to it than just physical even aspect of it. For warm-ups and cool-downs, like we are pivoting on different topic here. But, you know, for me, like being part of a warm-up is engaging mentally into that room, engaging mentally into being with your team, being with that group of guys or girls who are there, you know. And as silly, listen, don't take me wrong. I'm going to put this in there. There are some stupid ass warm-ups out there that people do, and it is what it is. But the point that you show up on time, you show the respect to your team. Forget about the instructor, but you show respect to your teammates, to your training partners. You're there with them. You're there for them. You set the same mindset all around the room, and you're training together. As silly as it is, that goes heavy, in my opinion. Now, sometimes we are late. Life is good. Okay, there are by far more important things in jiu-jitsu than, more important things in life than jiu-jitsu. Okay, family comes first, always will be. You know, sometimes we can't make it. But there's difference between I'm not going because I don't need it versus something came up and I can't make it. So, like, we can always differentiate that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I know. There are a couple of guys in my gym, and I say it. We joke about it a little bit. We do an open mat on Saturdays and Sundays at my gym, and it's supposed to be a 2-hour. We now do. It wasn't always like this. We do 1 full hour of drilling on Saturdays and Sundays before we start rolling. And guys don't show up to the second hour. Drives my coach nuts. Drives it nuts. They know. They're doing it. I talked to some of the guys that are like, yeah, I'm not coming for the drilling. Like, but do you understand? It's not a fairness thing, but I think it's out of respect for your training partners and the people you're about to roll with. You're going to come. You're fresh. You're not tired from essentially an hour workout, and then you're going to come and roll like it's the ADCC finals. That's where That's where I think it rubs people the wrong way, and I know that's what pisses my professor off. Now you're going to come here and you're going to do some fancy shit on somebody who's been training for an hour. It's more respectful to come, even though you don't want to do it. Come and do the whole class. Do the whole thing. For us, it's a 2-hour class on. You call it an open mat. It's a 2-hour class on Saturdays and Sundays, guys.
You go harder. You go harder on the dry guys.
Sounds funny when you say it like that. No, I mean I do. I take the approach. I'm always. It's a lot of. I was talking to my wife about this the other day. That it's like it's kind of weird because we've had a few black belts that got that black belts at my academy, but they've slowed down. They don't come as much. They're older guys. They're over 40, maybe even over 45 now, and they just don't come. And like, it's kind of weird. I'm like, I hope I'm not that guy. I'm at 3-stripe brown belt. Will I have my black belt in the next year if I stay healthy? Probably. I feel like I'm still going to be, I go my 3-4 days a week. I try to go to both open mats on the weekend. I hope I'm not that guy. I want to be that guy that's there. But I don't, am I going to age out? Am I going to be like, I'm going to be 50, 51? The back.
I had this conversation. I had this conversation with a friend of mine a few months back, and he made an interesting comment, which, made me think a little bit. And he said that despite the fact that we have multiple belts in jiu-jitsu and there could be reward systems as far as competitions and trophies and the other things, he said essentially there's two big milestones for jiu-jitsu practitioner. One is a blue belt. Second one is a black belt. And the everything in between, it's kind of like almost disappears. And the way how he phrased this was, blue belt is the first true reward. It's what everybody aims for. Nobody cares about the stripes. Nobody. I mean, everybody is proud of them and all that, but we don't train for stripes when you sign up. You want that blue belt. You don't want to be that white belt. You want to be the blue belt, the color belt, the different one. That you want to be part of the crew, right? That's the first one. And the second one is the black belt, right? And I start thinking about this. It's like, when I was younger, like I was hungry for that blue belt. No matter what, I wanted that blue belt. But the moment the blue belt came around, like, I wasn't thinking about that purple belt as much, but that black belt was like on the horizon. That was my goal. That's what I was aiming for, far away, but it was on my side. And we were talking about it for a while, and he says, this could be a reason why so many quit right after they get their blue, because they got what they wanted. They got the milestone. They achieved that goal. And there could be part of that reason why so many, once they stick around to that purple belt, they get to the black. But then after the black, they kind of start fading out. And obviously age, wear and tear, family, profession, careers, all that has layers on the top of all this. But a lot of people do stick around until they get their black belt. And then they're like, okay, well, now, I have the black belt. So, and there might be some truth behind that.
I don't think you'll be like that. I don't think I would be like that. It's like, Jason, our last guest, a former police officer on the last episode, said, he's like, now, like, getting the black belt out of the way was just like, I'm done now. Not done. I'm done with jiu-jitsu. I'm done with worrying about the colors. I'm not really going to worry about the stripe. That's it. I made it to black belt, and now I can have fun. I can enjoy it. Training is different. Mm-hmm. My mindset's different. I'm not focused on that thing. That changing of the belts. So I get that, and I kind of feel like that's where we're like, it's not about the color. Like, I know once I hit brown belt, it was just like it didn't worry about it anymore. I was just like, I felt a certain responsibility to live up to the brown belt, but I wasn't like, oh god, the black belt's right around the corner. It's just like, this is cool, dude. I almost the higher I went in belts, the more I was just like, I'm okay here for longer. I'll stay here for a while. I don't need, like, you're so hungry to move so quickly in the beginning, and then later it's just like, no, I'll stay there. And I understand those guys. I remember when I was purple and we started the show, a lot of guys would be like, I'm not ready for my blue belt, or I'm not ready for my purple, or he's gonna give me stripes. I don't think I'm ready. And I'm like, what? Let your professor worry about that. You're ready. You've been doing it. You know your jiu-jitsu. You're good. You're getting better. It's like you get your blue, and now you're gonna learn blue belt shit. It's not you got your blue and you have to know everything that everyone else knows at blue belt. Like you've reached that milestone, like you said. Yeah. And now it's like, now you're going to learn blue belt stuff. And then when you get your purple, it's not like, hey, you know everything that a purple belt's supposed to know, so here's your belt. No, now you're going to learn the purple belt stuff. And I think when people look at it like that, they go, okay, that makes sense. That takes the pressure off a little bit.
I feel like that's changed now because, like, I'm definitely part of this, new way. Because there's a lot of new people that are starting jiu-jitsu now. I think it's bigger than it ever has been. But they're like my age or like mid-30s or early 30s when they're starting. Mm-hmm. So they've already done, and usually it's always like an LEO of some type, person who used to do some sort of other activity that was, something like that, like wrestling or whatever, or military. So it's like they've already done something that they knew that's like, oh, this is for the long haul, So like when I came in, like I already know what it's like. I wrestled, right? So like I already know what it's like to like suck and then keep doing it,
grind and learn.
Yeah, exactly. The process is there. So it's like as soon as I did jiu-jitsu, I was like, this is awesome. I never cared about blue. I absolutely loved being a 4-stripe white belt.
Yeah,
because it was like
I was saying,
it was so awesome.
I was talking to my. I keep on saying I was talking to my wife. We were actually just talking about this as it relates to like, wow, black belt is kind of around the corner. And I said, hey, honey, that like I've heard this a million times. I don't know if the numbers are true, but it's like out of 10,000 people that start jiu-jitsu, one person gets their black belt. I'm not sure if that's an actual number, if that's based on any type of actual scientific science or mathematics, but it does make sense. I told her, I said, I saw a picture the other day of the school that used to train with me at. I saw a picture, and it was just a few years ago, and there were like, out of the 20 people there were still like 5 people that I could look at and go, they still train actively there. Not that people went to other schools, people that stopped doing jiu-jitsu. I'm like, wow, there was at least 20 people and like 5 of them are still doing jiu-jitsu. So I get those numbers. I mean, that math kind of probably works out.
Yeah.
Do you see that? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, listen, I don't know what the numbers are, to be honest with you, but I do know that more people quit jiu-jitsu than they stick around. You know, it's like, I think that's what number one topic on most of the instructors' mind. Like, how do you retain students? How do you keep them engaged? And I think it kind of goes back to the conversation we had a little bit earlier, is that stimulator factor. It's the entertainment factor. Like, listen, the moment we get bored, no matter what it is, I don't care if it's checkers, swimming, or jiu-jitsu, the moment you get bored, you check out. And once you check out, like, even think about yourself. Like you mentioned a few moments ago, you had some injuries, you take 2, 3, 4 weeks off. How easy or hard is to come back? And I'm not saying that you don't want to. Yeah, I'm not saying that you don't want to, because we all do want to. But what's the process of you actually getting there, changing, getting on a mat, and now going through this whole psychological process in your head? Absolutely. Yeah. This is why people quit most of the time, and reasons vary. Some of them are legit, where life, work, family overcomes and it takes over priority. But let's be honest, in my opinion, most of the time it's laziness. We just get
so
lazy.
Much easier to be at home.
And it's absolutely.
I honestly think I could not do jiu-jitsu and still watch jiu-jitsu and enjoy it. Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like I could relate to that mentality, but I could never quit
don't watch any sports that I don't do, or to the, like, when I say like sport, like UFC, I hit the bag. I might not be sparring in the gym, but I'm hitting the bag. I love it. It's something that I like to do. I don't watch football. I don't watch hockey. I don't play those sports. Yeah. Not since I was a kid. This is something like I watch it because I do it.
I watch it
because there are aspects of what I do in that sport, and I love that.
I like playing them all.
Yeah,
everything's fun.
All right, let's move to our next question, Coach. I know that you, Professor. I know that you've got. We're on a little bit of. I know what time we have to end, so we're going to end before that. But
you're good. We got time.
Okay, so music during rolling, yes or no? Do you play music in your academy?
Yes, I do. However, at specific times. So I do think that sound stimulation helps us to focus. It helps us to relax. It creates a certain dynamic. However, selection of the music is important, and then the volume of the music is important. So, like, when I teach, because of the big room that we have, it's very echoey. So we have speakers all around. So there is a music hovering in the background very, very lightly, just to eliminate the echoing. However, it's very quiet, right? So, like, I need to be heard, and that's important, right? If music is blaring, no one's going to listen to me or hear me, right?
White noise
so that's one. However, say again.
Oh, it said white noise machine. Just play a white noise.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, essentially, right? Now, if it's a sparring session or drilling session, like heavily and physically intensive, man, we put good music on and we go. right? So like I'll tell you a funny story actually. This was a few years back, which we will never ever do again at my academy. we came up with an idea. We said, hey, we're gonna create a poll. What kind of music you want? Okay, we're gonna play whatever you want. Okay, boom. And the entries came in, okay, boom, 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 boom. And then we start sharing that, right? And then it's like, okay, we're going to play this. And obviously, everybody's ball busting. And it's like, oh, there's a smooth jazz. Boom. Oh, here is a Christmas carol. Boom.
Oh, my gosh.
Man, we went from a death metal to Christmas to smooth jazz. It was ridiculous. We shut that down in the moment.
Running the asylum.
What's your go-to? so you're controlling the dial now. You're controlling what plays.
Yeah.
It's a team effort. Yeah. So like, most of the time instructor is the one who will play whatever it is. If it's me, I'll put something on.
What's your go-to?
However, I'm very conscious of. Yeah, well, I'm kind of, rock, something with the upbeat music, that's kind of what I typically play. However, some guys like it heavier, some guys like it lighter, so it really, and I don't even mind like if one of my students jumps in and wants to switch it around, that's fine as long as the time is appropriate, and I think that's the key, at least for me.
I love when like the professor puts on a mix. Or like a station. I think he's usually using Pandora.
It's the same song.
And then something really weird comes on, like something slow or unexpected.
Kai, go change it.
I love, if I know the song and it's weird, I love singing it. Like if I'm rolling, I'll start singing it to my partner. Especially like if it's like a love song or something weird or that's supposed to be sexy or booty. I don't know, whatever it is. I'll sing it. Yeah. And back to my first professor. He let us joke around a lot, and I've always carried that over. And my professor likes to joke a little. He'll let you get away with a little bit. My first professor, it was just like we took it seriously, but everyone was allowed to make a joke. There wasn't a time where it was like inappropriate. And his go-to was he would show us like a back take, and then he'd be like, "Okay," and then you whisper in their ear, "I like your panties." And that was his go-to. So he just allowed us to joke, and I've always that's been the. I've luckily been at the two gyms that I trained at that allowed you to be funny and be yourself. And I like being the class clown sometimes. And I'm always the older guy in the room. There's always a joke about being old or a heavier guy. So I love that he allows that. I know my limits though with Felipe. I know like, all right, yeah, it's time to shut up and not do something. Yeah. But yeah, okay. Well, so next question. Go ahead.
That's important at the academy, right? Like, because like if the academy is boring, nobody's going to train, right? And if it's inappropriate, nobody's going to train. Like, it's these dynamics create culture essentially.
Also, if you don't try to beat each other,
don't try to win practice.
Yeah, sometimes you got to try and win practice.
You said something before. I went on a tangent like I do, but I was going to say that when I roll. Again, I'm usually like, there aren't a lot of black belts. That's where I was going when I said that before. There aren't a lot of black belts there. There are a few browns. And when I do roll with the lower belts, I roll just like a tad above their level. I bring my level to their level so that it's not me just beating on them. I'm not there to, like, I'm not training for a competition this week. I'm training because, again, it's fun, the camaraderie and the exercise. So like now I'm in this place where I can really have fun with it, and every once in a while there's somebody that's like, mother, let's go. Where come on, times. We're doing this. But most of the time, because there are only like usually like maybe 2 to 3 other brown belts at any given time. It's mostly purple and below. I make sure that I bring myself down so that they want to roll with me. They have fun. I don't try to instruct them, but I might tell them something at the end like, hey, remember that you do it this way. Just put your arm here. It's going to work. Trust me. But I bring myself down to that level. So I'm not bringing the wrath down on a white belt.
I'd rather get tapped 35 times in one roll than have somebody do that to me.
And that's fine. I think that guys are realizing I'm that guy that's like, okay, even though I'm heavier and I'm a higher belt now, I'm not going to smash them. So a white belt will come to me and be like, okay, not a rest round by any means, but they know that I'm going to let them work a little bit. I'm not going to let them short of tapping me because I still have a little bit of an ego. I will let them have fun and let them learn something, and I won't just smash them.
I think this kind of goes back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier in the episode. Is like as humans we learn different ways. When we accept different environments, different things. We process information different ways. Like I have some students who will do privates with me on daily basis, and we will not do one technique. We just talk strategy, philosophy, and things. And like I'm not here to judge whether this is useful to you. If this is what you need, then this is what you're gonna be. And I have other students who don't want to learn one technique. They just want to flow. They want to feel it. They want to be in a dynamic position. And then I have others who literally will, spend full 60 minutes analyzing and breaking down one single move to the point where it's, like just digestible, Yeah. And so I think it's what's interesting about this conversation is like that we all learn different way, and acknowledging how I learn, that's one thing, but acknowledging how my partner learns, this is where I can be helpful. Yeah. Right. Because imagining giving somebody 20 pieces of advice and they can care less about it, you both wasted time.
Yeah. So there's a guy that I roll with at my gym that this guy could darce you from across the room. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I've gotten better at darce defense at people who are crappier at doing darces than this guy.
But still good.
Because when it's Enrico, dude. This kid's a beast, bro. You got to meet him. Anyways, like his entries are so good, and my jiu-jitsu is so shitty.
It's not, Professor. He's being humble.
No, it is against him. There's a difference. He's like he's putting a lot of miles on his car. Yeah. Right? And he's a newer model car. I'm like, I'm an 84 Pinto. No. And he's a 2000 Mustang GT 500.
Gotcha.
Right? And so any hoots. But like when I have a roll with him and then I go to the next person, I'm not scared of darces of anybody else that I roll with because he does that to me like at will, whenever he wants.
Yep. Do you in that role do you go into it knowing I am totally playing defense on this? I know that I have to play defense.
I'm trying to fucking kill that dude.
Yeah.
Every time. Every time.
Have you come close?
No.
So I guess you're doing a lot of defensive work then.
Yeah.
But this kind of puts a interesting spin on all this, right? Like we get better based on the environment that we find ourselves in.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a quick story. And my son used to swim in a club, and I'm there with him, and he does his laps and all the other stuff. And like I know most of the parents there are there, and there's this one guy shows up that I've never seen, and the annoying dude that I am is like, "Hi, how are you? I'm Thomas," and and we start talking, So I learned that this guy used to be a Olympic swimming coach. I was like, oh, well, that's fascinating. I've never met anybody who was in the Olympics, and like we are chit-chatting this and that. And, as annoying as I am, I ask these stupid questions. I was like, so how do you become a good swimmer? And he just looks at me and he goes, this was groundbreaking for me. And he goes, you get in the pool. So I was like, well, thanks, genius. I mean, that we know that. I was like, no, you don't understand.
That was deep.
You get in the pool. Without getting in the pool, you can't be a good swimmer, and then I start thinking about all this, and like it's almost like same thing in jiu-jitsu. Like if you want to be good at defending darce, you need to be in the darce. Yeah. If you want to be good with passing the guard, you can't be pulling guard. You can't. You got to be on top. You got to pass the guard. So in order for us to be good at anything, we got to put ourselves in these positions, and we got to work at it. We got to fail. We got to fail, and again and again and again, and get better, and step by step, developing these systems, and we have this understanding of what's going on, and then then we are awesome, like Miguel.
Bro, I'm telling you that like when I'm saying I'm trying to kill this guy, it's an 84 Camry versus a 2000. So it's like me going hard is him idling. You know what I mean?
Upgraded for me.
But you know what?
So it's like it's not the same. It's not like I'm trying to kill him and he's having a hard time doing anything.
The beauty of jiu-jitsu is that there are levels, and I'm sure as good as he is,
I understand it.
There's somebody that's doing that to him.
It's like I have a disability.
There is somebody that's doing that to him somewhere. When he trains, there's somebody laying it on him and him going, man, I can't beat this guy. This guy's amazing from here or from there. Yeah. So, again, there's levels.
I'm not going to kiss and tell, but this dude, he's scary to anybody in the room.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I think also what's funny about this, that I think some other people might feel the same way about you. you know, and like somebody who's this is the first day one. But still, it's like, whoa, who's this Miguel guy? I want to be like Miguel.
I'm starting to believe, like they say, like believe somebody when they tell you who they are.
Yeah.
Miguel's been making that same joke about raining down, like raining down fury on the trial guy. That I believe that he's doing it.
I don't. I'm the Kobe Covington of trial class guy. Yeah.
Just not talking shit.
Yeah, I'm not.
You're really talking shit.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm super nice.
I feel bad if Coach Adrian is losing students because of you.
He's not. My boy Raul's starting jiu-jitsu in Cupertino, California. Let's go, buddy. You? Hell yeah. That's all I talk about. Yeah. He tells me a problem, I'd be like, jiu-jitsu fixes that.
Put a little jiu-jitsu on that, right? All right, Professor, listen, thank you so much. Hang on one second. Don't hang up. We're going to come take some pictures by the screen that you're on in the studio. But thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. We have one last question for you, though.
Ooh.
Do you
what is it?
Or do you not wash your belt?
Oh, that's the $1 million question for every black belt, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's
the only reason we invited you here.
It's a big setup.
Highlight. That was the
Sweet.
highlight.
It was all for this.
All right. So I'll tell you. So this is an honest answer, right? And we had the similar thing on my podcast, and somebody asked me that too, and Gary was making fun of me. But I think, up to probably 7 years ago or so, I have not washed my belt once. Matter of fact, like I have my belts displayed in my academy. If you look at my white belt, it's not even close to white. It's like almost gray, like it's falling apart and all
Andrew
the other stuff,
Welty.
But at some point, I think like we mature, we get older, and like you understand that the belt has the, junk in it, and you probably should wash it. So like, honestly, I think I have 4 or 5 belts altogether everywhere. I use them for different purposes, travel, and the one that I teach, and the one that I really have, and all the other things. But to short answer is yes, I do. I don't do it frequently. I have a name. Once in a while I do wash it, but say it again.
I said I have a name for people like you. You're born again belt washers. I get it.
All right, man. Listen, we're gonna
there you go.
There. Get baptized in the washing machine with Glade.
Thank you again for doing this again, Professor. We really appreciate it. We'll put this out. Usually we're on maybe we'll probably put this out next week. I think we've eaten up our the ones that we had pre-recorded in the can. I think we're right on back to like our normal schedule. So I'm looking at Bo. We'll probably launch this before Thursday of next week. So we'll have it out. We'll tag you. We'll let you know we're putting it out.
Tuesday.
We do some good promo and some videos now too. So we'll send you. We'll tag you. But again, listen, don't hang up, but don't go anywhere. Thank you again for doing this. We really appreciate it. And I know that last time we were supposed to do this, I got COVID when I think it was around the time you were coming down. I had to cancel my New Year's party at my house, and it was a mess. And I never got to apologize to you for that. But next time you're down, let's try to do it again. All right?
Absolutely. Hands down. We'll do it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you to Neutral Zone CBD, a combat family-owned company that supports athletes and the people who love them. Neutral Zone strives to deliver clean CBD products for sports recovery in gummies, lotions, balms, roll-ons, and more. After a competition, a hard rolling session, or a tough day on the job, Neutral Zone has a product designed to help you reduce inflammation, increase cell rejuvenation, and may even help with aging joints. Visit NeutralZoneCBD.com and get 25% off your order with code JJD. And follow them on Instagram too, at MyNeutralZone. Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box has now joined the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. The BJJ box is delivered to your door filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. The crew at the BJJ box find the best in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Visit thebjjbox.com and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box. And give them a follow on Instagram at TheBJJBox. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
All right, that was great.
I liked
Yes,
it.
it was.
Good guy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He's always cool.
He's I love his insight. I think he has he reminds me a little bit like when I think of some of the guys that we've had on, like he's like those young guys like Nick Salas,
Yeah.
and
Danny
Freestyle.
Freestyle.
Yeah.
Like I feel that's he has the
Got that
personality that
energy,
they're gonna
yeah.
have in 10 years.
Yeah.
Like
You think so?
the way that they look, the way that he looks at jiu-jitsu and the way he talks about jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
is the way that I could hear them talking about jiu-jitsu in like 10 years.
They're already kind
And
of talking
we have
like
to
that.
give him a compliment on technically he did. I'm so appreciative of his getting
The
on
mic
the mic
and the setup and the
properly
lighting.
the whole thing. Yeah,
It was kind of cool. It was like dark on this side and light on this side.
he
Pro.
did good.
Not like that one episode we had where it was like dark in the room, and then all of a sudden at the end of the episode, the guy we only saw the I won't say who it is. We
The
only saw his
sun.
face.
The sun.
And
it was
I
just
remember
like this. Everything else was dark.
Yeah, and I remember from when we first had him on till now, he's become really, really good with his like radio voice talking speech thing.
Yeah. I mean,
really-
he's doing podcasts.
No,
he's
but
doing,
that's-
he's
it
filming
really
a lot of
shows.
content.
It really
Yeah.
shows that he's spending time on there.
I'm sure he's gonna.
So
He appreciates
that's
that.
my compliment out to you,
He
Tom.
was he was definitely acting like he's been here before.
Yeah, that's cool.
This ain't
We were supposed to have
nobody.
like that really happened. I got COVID when he was down in Florida. He was going to come through, and I got COVID, and then I had to cancel. I always felt bad.
That happens, bro.
We hadn't been able to coordinate something, but it was time, and he's definitely gonna he'll be in the studio one day. So look, it's just, we'll just leave it there. Check us out at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies for all the ways to watch, listen, and support. My personal IG is Uncle Milty BJJ.
JJD_DJJ
Bo
at 60. Okay. No, 69.
Oh,
Underscore.
it's
No, you can
long.
finish. You can finish. It would help.
Here it
It
is
would
on the screen.
It's right here.
It's right here.
You know where to
everybody.
find me, bro. Hit the follow button.
And I'm at BADWERKS.
Bad works.
Thank you.
Are we gonna have you on screen when
Yeah, with my choppers.
you choppers, when your new choppers?
Nice.
See my handy wisdom with
your
the
new
choppers.
with your new toofuses. We're gonna have you on screen.
I'll be spitting out. I'll be spitting out plastic teeth, man.
All right, everybody, listen. Thank you for watching and listening. Peace, love, jiu-jitsu.
Bye, guys.
Os. All right, now we hit the beginning.